Poland and Ukraine say they've made progress in resolving a historical dispute over massacres during the Second World War. The Polish government estimates that around 100,000 Poles were killed in the last 2 years of the war in the Rivne and Volhynia regions now in western Ukraine. Warsaw considers it a genocide. Following talks with his Ukrainian counterpart in Warsaw, Poland's foreign minister said the two countries would work together to carry out research and exhumation work. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now on the line from London by the European Affairs analyst, Dr. Marek Laskiewicz. Dr. Laskiewicz, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Just tell us about this massacre of 1943 briefly, which was carried out against Polish people by Ukrainian militia, which apparently continues to poison Polish-Ukrainian relations.
Oh, yes, it is a very, very touchy subject. Just one of a few, to be honest. However, this is a biggie. What happened was, in Polish eyes, was the Ukrainians massacred, precisely as you said in your program, 100,000 Poles were just simply living there. From the Ukrainians, they saw it as part of their drive for independence and to be ethnic cleansing, wouldn't it, of the lands from Poles. This has been a sub-theme throughout the whole of the war. By no means everybody is happy at how far Poland has supported Ukraine, and I'm talking about Poles, simply because of these massacres. It has to be remembered that virtually every Pole in his family sooner or later comes across people who were out there in the East and who suffered as a result. And therefore, as a consequence, it has been a poisoning factor precisely as you stated. If they manage to agree, which is at least they've now made a first step to trying to do so, it will go a long way to improving Polish-Ukrainian relations. So from this point of view, especially in the context of the Russian-Ukrainian war, it is very important.
Indeed, because you mentioned that war. Earlier this year, Poland's defense minister reminded Ukrainians that Poland's support, or overwhelming support for Ukraine in that war with Russia, has its limits. As a result of that issue, this massacre issue. And he said that Poland would never support Ukraine joining the EU if it didn't resolve that issue, which is, I understand, about exhuming the bodies of the victims who remain on Ukrainian territory.
Precisely. To show you how close it is, I even have a relative out there, but he was not in that massacre, but he actually is one of the officers in the camp, which was in Ukrainian territory, which the Russians actually carried out. But just to show you how close it is to everybody, the Ukraine, it was an integral part of the Polish Commonwealth for a long time. And the fact of the matter is that this, if it could be resolved, along with, I think, other issues, will go a long way to making the relations between the Poles and the Ukrainians far more pleasant. It is quite true what you said also, that there will be limits to Polish support because of it. So it's all the more welcome, all the more important that they've decided to at least make a start. This is a historical issue, but as I've pointed out, it is that close to all of us that even I have someone, for example, out east, not in this precise massacre, but out east who suffered. And therefore, it is very important it's resolved.
Yes, I mean, it's very sad, isn't it? But I understand that thousands of Ukrainians were killed as well, though nowhere near as many as the Polish people who died.
Quite so. There's also the aspects of the Jews who also suffered in those areas. And therefore, it is a very complicated history. It is one for the historians to resolve all the figures on each side. Generally speaking, it is the Poles who suffered the most here, and it is remembered to this day by Poles. And therefore, what is needed first and foremost is to get an accurate analysis of what happened, how much damage was done, and exactly the agree on a common history. This is very important.
Indeed. I want to thank you very much indeed for bringing us that very important piece of history, which of course is having an impact in today's world. the European Affairs analyst, Dr. Marek Laskiewicz, talking to me there on the line from London.